Yo, D-Lo 404 Boxing and More. Shout out to the LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Welcome back to the channel to my subscribers and repeat viewers. If you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell icon. Also, would love to hear your comments, read your comments in the comment section. See what you guys got to say so I can engage in conversation with you via the comment section. All right. What I want to talk about is the Dazn signing of not only Canelo Alvarez, which everyone made videos about, but also about the potential Luis Ortiz signing. At the time of this video, which is 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on today, I haven't seen anything confirming that that deal has actually been reached with Luis Ortiz, but that it was actually pretty close to being reached. But as far as the Canelo deal, great deal for Canelo. I think it's like somewhere around 365 for 11 fights. We know the first fight is going to be his Rocky Fielding character that looks like Aaron Rodgers. So that's at 168. That's going to be on Dazn. We'll see how that fight plays out. After that, Canelo, you know, has his options on who he's going to fight next, what weight class he's going to fight in. Is he going to stay up there at 168? Is he going to campaign at 160? My issue with the whole thing, as far as from a boxing fan getting what we want to see, is that with Canelo being on Dazn, you also have Andrade on Dazn. If Andrade wins the WBO title, I'm pretty sure it's the WBO. Yeah, if Andrade wins that WBO strap, then, you know, that middleweight strap will belong to a Dazn fighter. If I'm not sure about Derevyanchenko, but I know that I know that Daniel Jacobs is signed with Eddie Hearn Matchroom Promotions. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be fighting on that Dazn platform as well. So you'll also have the IBF title, should Daniel Jacobs win, tied to Dazn. That's two of the four major sanctioning body belts for the middleweight division. And then there's Canelo, who has the WBC belt and the WBA belt. So with that said, there's all four of the middleweight titles would be tied to Dazn. So there's your guys like Jamal Charlo would have to fight on Dazn. Now this is according to what Eddie Hearn said about Dazn fighters only fighting on Dazn. So that means anybody they fight will have to come to the Dazn platform and fight. Now, I'm kind of unclear about whether that means they actually have to sign an agreement, as in a multi-fight deal, or if it's just a fight-by-fight basis. Like basically, like if Jamal Charlo wanted to challenge one of those three guys for a middleweight title, he would have to sign to fight on Dazn for that fight, because those guys won't be able to fight on Showtime or Fox or anything else. So if that's the case, then I don't know that it's all that bad. But if there's a thing, a situation where he has to, or not just Jamal, I'm just using Jamal for example because he's mandatory for a title shot. But if whoever wants to challenge one of those Dazn titleists to a fight has to sign either a multi-fight deal or basically have some kind of language in there in the contract for that one fight that says should they win, Dazn has options on the next fight or two. You know, that kind of situation I think is going to keep some guys from bothering with trying to fight. Yeah. Now the lure of money can change a lot of that now. You know, I mean, depends on what they're offered. I mean, these guys are prize fighters, so I'm not going I'm not gonna say that, blindly sit here and say that under no circumstances should these guys fight on Dazn. I mean, that's their business. That's their stock and trade. That's what they do for a living. So, I don't know how that's gonna pan out. But my point is, anytime a promoter or a network or what have you, even a manager has to basically demands that they get options on you for you to fight their fighter. Sometimes that's win or lose. Sometimes that's if you win. But anytime that's the circumstances, the situations upon which you have to sign to get a fight, that's not really a good situation for you, because it's almost a lose-lose situation. If you go out there and lose to the guy, you lost the fight and lost your opportunity to win a title. But if you go out there and win, now you've lost flexibility and what your next career move should be. Now you're obligated to his promoter or his network or whatever because you beat their guy. So, and all of this is just me, I'm just kicking around some things in my head, but I'm verbalizing it on the video. Just because I'm, it's stuff that I'm thinking about, and maybe some of you guys have the same thoughts. But I'm just wondering, how is this really going to work out for fans, for the best fighting the best, as what we want, I think it bodes well for Undisputed, should these guys dare to try to be undisputed. If all of these guys are all on the same platform and they try to go for it, there's no one really in the way blocking the fights. But at the same time, we've seen multiple belts in a division belong to the same stable and guys not fight one another. So, I mean, you just never know what's going to happen. But what I like to say about it, also is that, I don't want to see Dazn protecting their interests, or De La Hoya, which he's already been doing in the past, but protecting their interests with Canelo and this investment that they're making into him by matching him softly every time out. I think Rocky Fielding is a soft touch. I mean, he's a big boy. He's a big guy. I mean, that's something for Canelo's gonna have to overcome. But I just don't think Rocky Fielding is on that level of a fighter that Canelo really is in danger of losing that fight. It's one of those fights that before it's signed, I mean, once it's announced, it's pretty much unanimous that everybody probably feels like, okay, Canelo's going to win this fight. It's not something where you got to kick it back and forth in your head and be like, I don't know. Like Canelo's Triple G, people felt strongly one way or the other, but at the end of the day, there was no foregone conclusion with who was going to win that fight. I mean, I'll be honest. I thought upon the first fight being announced, I thought for sure Triple G was going to eventually knock Canelo out. That was my thinking going into the first fight. Going into the second fight, I kind of was on the fence because of things I saw in the first fight, but I still felt like ultimately Triple G would get the best of him later in the fight and possibly be able to stop him. And actually, looking at that fight, in my opinion, from what I saw, I don't think I was that far off. There were some moments in that fight where Canelo really got, was getting battered around late in the fight. But Triple G was never able to get over that hump and really put him in serious, serious trouble to where the ref would have stopped the fight or to get Canelo down or anything like that. So, I mean, and that's boxing. That happens. But those are the fights I like to see. I like to see fights that going into the fight, we don't know who's going to win the fight. I mean, if every fight that's announced, we already know who's going to win beforehand, what's the point of them having a fight? You know what I'm saying? I mean, if it's some guy, some top tier guy against some no-hoper, I mean, yeah, every once in a while that doesn't work out. But, the majority of the time, the guy's favorite in the fight is going to win just because he's just head and shoulders above the guy he's fighting. So that I'm hoping that isn't the result of Canelo signing with Dazn and these other guys that are going to follow Canelo and sign with Dazn eventually. I mean, because the reality is for them to get what they want in return on their investment, they're going to have to make good fights. It's not going to just be people blindly following certain fighters and saying, yeah, I'm going to tune in and watch Dazn because there's so many fights on there, and I just like to watch boxing. The reality is, I'm the type, and I know I'm not alone, type of person that feels like if you're not giving me what I want, I'll tune out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just the bottom line. There's other, especially over here in the U.S., there's so many other sports to follow. You know what I'm saying? I turned away from boxing in probably like the mid-90s for a moment, just because I was, you know, it was a lot of talk about steroids, fighters getting, you know what I'm saying, I felt like the fighters weren't being protected in the ring, you know, ring deaths and stuff like that kind of turned me off for a minute, and also the crooked promoters and such, you know, and then I kind of turned back to the sport with things like you know what I'm saying, some of the major fights kind of started getting my attention. I was a big Roy Jones fan, so I still always tune in for Roy. But I say I turned away from the sport. I kind of became a casual. Whereas probably since I was, you know, 8 years old, 9 years old, I was like very serious about boxing. It was my favorite sport. And I watched all kind of boxing tapes and, well, not DVDs back then, but all kind of tapes. And anytime an old fight came on TV, I watched it. And anytime, you know, anything related to boxing, I was trying to get my hands on it, books, whatever you call it, what have you. But at that point, I kind of was like a casual for probably about a 4 or 5 year stretch, where I was kind of like, I watch boxing if I couldn't find anything else on TV. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, unless Roy was fighting, maybe De La Hoya Trinidad, something like that. You know, Sugar Shane Mosley, Winky Wright, things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? But as far as like just tuning in to watch, like now, I'll watch anybody. But I'm not going to, you know what I'm saying, just tune in for some garbage fight. I'd rather watch two unknown guys fight one another than watch some world beater fight some guy that, you know what I'm saying, has 8-9 losses and basically don't have a chance in the fight. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm coming from. But seeing as how I talked about De La Hoya, Golden Boy, and you know, their fighter Canelo for 12 minutes now, I'm gonna go ahead and hop off this video, and I'll make a separate video talking about Luis Ortiz. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a separate video talking about Luis Ortiz. I'm sorry, but I will say, since I mentioned it, that, you know, I'm not pleased that Ortiz has signed with Dazn, but I won't get into why on this other video. But I am happy for Ortiz if he gets his money. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Thanks for viewing my video. Like I said, drop a comment in the comment section. I'm out of here. Peace.